All right, so a lot of you asked me about my favorite gear, and yeah, so I don't know if you can see this right here. Here's a backpack I'm wearing. This video is not about the backpack. This backpack is a perfectly average size day pack. And yeah, it's really light right now. I don't even need to use this chest strap. I feel like I could walk around like this, honestly, all day if I had to. Well, here's the really cool thing. Inside this backpack, I have a 64 keyboard with semi-weighted velocity-sensitive keys, a hookup for a sustain pedal, some programmable knobs and buttons, and it's a MIDI keyboard.
Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kellman, and I'm here to show you everything that I know about playing the piano. Now, of course, mostly on this channel, I focus on the actual playing of the piano and piano techniques, but I'm a huge nerd when it comes to talking about gear, and a lot of you have been asking me tons of questions for a very long time about what plugins I use, what software do I use to get the piano sounds that I get, and what keyboards do I play? What do I take with me when I'm going on the road? So, in this series, I'm going to be doing some reviews. I'm going to be exposing you to some of my absolute favorite plugins, software, keyboards, even carrying cases, etc. These are all hacks and tips that I've collected throughout the years of being a musician. And yeah, bottom line, I think they're all going to be really, really helpful to you. And also, it's going to be really, really fun for me because at the end of the day, I am such a gear nerd and I love talking about this stuff. So really quick, if you are new to the channel, please be sure to consider clicking the subscribe button and hitting the bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss any more videos just like this one. Also, if you're excited to check some of this stuff out, please consider smashing that like button so that I know that you all are enjoying these videos. All right, let's get right to it. So today I am super pumped because I have what may be the single best travel keyboard on the market here in front of me today. This is called the Piano de Voyage, and it is made by Rhyme Music right out of France. I do want to just quickly let you all know that I did get a nice discount on this keyboard in return for doing this video. But with that said, I'm going to give you my 100% honest opinion about this keyboard, and I want you to be able to make up your mind about whether this is something that makes sense for you to purchase and spend your money on. Now, what you are looking at right now is actually a lot more than it seems. This is actually two different pieces of the keyboard. So as a traveling musician, all I can say is that I've seen a ton of keyboards out there that are supposed to be really, really awesome for travel. A lot of them come in two pieces, right? So you take two big pieces of the keyboard and snap them together, or you unfold them. But most of them have some kind of flaw, for me at least, that just makes them either unwieldy or just not worth it. So for me, a keyboard that has two pieces this size, still pretty cool, but what if you could actually break it into four pieces? Well, that is what the Piano de Voyage does. This is actually two pieces right here that I've already put together. Let's take a look at how it came. Okay, now just to put this into perspective, this is an 88 key keyboard and it fit into this box. So I'm just gonna hold this up against myself so you can see. This is pretty small. Other than the carry-on piano, which I also have, this is the smallest box that I've ever seen a full 88 size keyboard fit into. Now the carry-on piano has its own novelty and is kind of cool, but really has no comparison to the Piano de Voyage here in terms of quality. Now, what does an individual piece of this keyboard look like? Well, beautiful little black felt bag. I'm going to open this up, and the keyboard, this is one of the four pieces or modules, slides right out. And it looks like this. So how do we actually get these together? Well, one of the things I read here in the manual, we want to make sure that this clasp is closed as we do this. It's got these little metal pegs, these two little silver metal pegs. You're going to want to hold each side very carefully with a different arm. We're going to slide that onto the metal pegs, and then we're going to close it. And now we have this little latch, so we can bring that around and put it like that, and then we just close the latch. All right, so this is pretty cool. And you know what? Let's just take the final piece and attach this. Now, one thing that I almost learned the hard way, but thankfully didn't have to learn completely the hard way, is when you are detaching a piece from this thing, you gotta be really, really careful because you don't realize that the weight is distributed a specific way. And then you detach a piece and suddenly the left side falls off. Now, for some of you that probably seems like a really silly mistake, and I admit that it is, but one that I almost made. So we got to be really, really careful here. It's a little tricky putting it together, but not too bad. Okay, so it is ridiculously easy to misalign the pegs with the holes, but once you get the hang of it, it gets easier and easier. All right, and just like that, we have got ourselves a full 88 key keyboard here. That is really, really cool. And the keyboard automatically adjusts where middle C is. Okay, so that is the setup. Honestly, I have to say, although maybe you have to be a bit careful in actually connecting the pieces, so you want to allot a few minutes to do that properly. I mean, this is incredible. It breaks down into 4 pieces that you can easily fit into a little suitcase, right? A carry-on size suitcase. And on top of that, you don't even need to bring all 88 keys. You could just bring 3 of them and you would already have a really nice size keyboard. I gotta say, this is absolutely awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the functionality here. So I am currently using Pianotech on the computer. This is one of my absolute favorite piano plugins. This is what this keyboard, though, sounded like right out of the box using Pianotech. So, not the best, right? I mean, it's really, really bright. It's pretty harsh. But there are some really easy ways to fix that. The first one is there's actually essentially a little app that you can use on Google Chrome to fix the velocity or set it to your preferences. So I'm going to go over to Google Chrome here on my computer. And what I find I like is a lower velocity. And so then we hit send to keyboard. And now we get it sounding more like this. For my taste, it's still just too easy to make this sound harsh and bright, but I have a fix for that too. Now, of course, you actually could do this in the Piano de Voyage app here, but I found this a little bit easier to do and control in Pianotech itself. So what I did was I simply set the max velocity here down to around 90. And with 90, it sounds more like this. So we really do have a nice range. All right, so for me that sounds a lot better. The point being here, we do have actually a lot of control with this thing in terms of software. It's got a decent amount of velocity sensitivity, and considering the portability, it's absolutely incredible. For me, the biggest thing about the carry-on piano, which is this really, really tiny, I mean, it is pretty incredible how small it is, unwraps, unfolds, you get a full 88 keys, but of course the keys feel like toys, and there's no velocity sensitivity whatsoever. So it's not something that can really be used professionally, right? This thing, on the other hand, it has totally sufficient sensitivity to be used, I think, at the professional level. Absolutely, I'm totally happy with it. So if I'm getting really, really nitpicky, I found a few maybe little teeny tiny flaws here. For example, if we look at this C, really, really pretty nice velocity sensitivity. Not perfect, but pretty nice. If we look at this D flat, it's kind of missing in the lower velocity. So I have to play it a little harder. Now I think that that's probably something that, frankly, if I sent it back over to the folks at Rhyme Music, they would probably just fix that for me. But I don't want to do that because I waited a long time for this thing, and I am excited to have it. And for me, that's a very minor flaw, right? It's just one key. Now, the keybed. How is the keybed? Honestly, it's pretty great. You know, I've played all sorts of MIDI keyboards and portable keyboards, and I honestly really like this one. I think it's got a nice feeling to it. The keys are not weighted. It's more of this kind of organ style key, something like that. I'm sure, you know, professional keyboard technicians and you know, sales experts have a better handle on exactly what these keys would be called, but they are semi-weighted for sure, and they've got a really nice feeling to them. Honestly, in terms of semi-weighted keys that I've played, I find that some of them, the black notes, feel a little awkward or difficult to play. This one's really nice. I feel like I have good control over the piano itself. Now, in addition to all of that, you do have a couple little wheels all the way on the first module, and you also have octave up and down buttons and a couple other configurable buttons. So you do have some little switches on this keyboard that you can actually configure to your liking. I know one of the things you can do is actually make one of the knobs into a pitch bend, for example. And you can actually see a lot of those options on the little app that you can see in Chrome here. Now, a few other little things. Obviously, you probably heard this, but yes, the keyboard does accept a sustain pedal, which is awesome. I mean, that is, for me, so important. I'm just using a normal M Audio sustain pedal here. I generally prefer to have one with a polarity switch when I'm using a MIDI keyboard, because you just never quite know how that's gonna turn out. Then it's just your average USB cable connection, and that's all you need for power and for hooking this up. So frankly, this to me, you know, I'm not an engineer by any means, but just based on my own personal experience as a musician, playing different types of keyboards and trying out different keyboards specifically for travel, this seems like a really incredible engineering job. Now, there are some minor imperfections here, right? So the modules aren't actually aligning perfectly here. So the first two, pretty close to perfect. But then this third one and the two middle ones, you know, there's like a tiny bit of vertical misalignment. Same thing with the final two. Do I really care? No, but you know, I figure I'd let you know nonetheless. It feels hardy. It's got a really nice hardy feel to it. So how heavy is this thing? Well, it's not too heavy, but it's got a little bit of weight to it, you know, when it comes to traveling. So each one of these modules is around 2.5 pounds. I believe the bottom module, which is actually only, I think, 15 keys, is only 2 pounds. But yeah, it comes out to around 10 pounds, which is incredible in terms of keyboards as a whole, right? But you know, it's a little bit more when you're actually traveling. That said, I mean, 10 pounds for a fully velocity sensitive 88 key keyboard that you can travel with, just incredible to me. In addition to that, there actually is now a extra little module that you can get, so you actually do have sounds built into this thing and don't need to use it with MIDI. Personally, I see myself really running all of my sounds through a computer regardless. So, you know, just one thing to keep in mind, you would have to buy a separate add-on if you wanted to actually have sounds within the keyboard itself. And I believe those currently allow you to play general MIDI sounds. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if that's something that interests you, right at pianodevoyage.com, I'm sure that they have those specifications. Really quick, if you are finding this review and my perspective helpful, please consider hitting that like button, as it really helps me and this channel out. Here's just a little bit of general playing, and keep in mind I'm standing, so normally I'd probably sit, but So yeah, this is of course with my Piano Tech velocity sensitivity setting and the setting that I changed in the actual Piano de Voyage app in Chrome. Now, how much does this thing cost? Well, that comes out to 1,050 euros. So that's going to be obviously a little bit more in dollars, at least where the exchange rate currently is. And so of course that brings us to the really important question. Would I recommend that you buy this? Again, just to let you know, I am honestly giving you my completely unfiltered opinion here. I'm not saying this just to get affiliate sales or anything like that. I really want to make sure that I'm giving you a very genuine and honest perspective on the gear I use, both the positives and negatives. But I have to say, this keyboard is so unique that I, as of now, have not used anything that I can genuinely compare it to. If you have ever lived in a city and need to transport a keyboard around in a city, I've had some really awful experiences. One time I actually walked around the entire Bronx Zoo in New York carrying a Nord on my back and hauling an amp, stand, and bench. So my hands were completely full and I had this Nord on my back, and it was really rough. By the time I got to the gig, I was drenched in sweat and my back was really, really bugging me. Great exercise, but wouldn't recommend it in all honesty, especially before playing several hours of a gig. So sorry for going on and on here, but would I recommend this thing? Absolutely. Who would I recommend it to? Honestly, anybody who has to travel and wants to have an actual full keyboard setup with velocity sensitivity, decent semi-weighted keys, MIDI functionality. The most important thing here for me is, do you value more having a weighted keyboard with you at all times, or do you value more having a very light and portable option? To me, when you're going on a tour, having something like this that you could just fit in your carry-on suitcase, it's incredible. I mean, it just resolves all of the stress. You have the keyboard that you know with you at all times, and it's just awesome. And for someone like me who likes to also teach, I'm going to be taking it out during the day all the time to teach. It's so easy. I just roll my suitcase around. I mean, there's nothing like it that I currently know of right now. If there are other things that you think are comparable, let me know in the comments. I would love to know about that. So I can't speak for you, but this will 100% be my new travel keyboard of choice. And if you are thinking of picking one of these up, I have some good news. So I actually got a discount code for you all. So if you want an actual discount on the keyboard, you can use that code. And obviously I should let you know, I get a commission on that sale. So if you are considering getting one and you enjoyed this review, I truly, truly appreciate you using that code, getting yourself a discount, and getting me a commission on that sale, as it really helps me and the channel out. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some great perspective. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments and I will answer whatever questions I can. Bottom line, this is an incredible solution for traveling as a keyboard player. I actually just took it in a suitcase with me and traveled all across Europe, so I can say seriously firsthand, this basically saved me, and it saved my wife's band as well. This thing was amazing. Didn't have any issues going through and taking it on a plane because it fit right in the overhead. I mean, that is so cool. I've never had that experience before where I had an 88 key piano with no worry of it getting broken, in the checked luggage, and it fitting right overhead in the overhead bin. I mean, that's so cool. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found the review helpful. If you did and you're new to the channel, please consider clicking subscribe and hitting the bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss any more videos just like this one. And of course, either way, I really appreciate you hitting that like button to help this video move up. It really helps me out. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.